Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energy for both the collective and each individual life path number for this new moon that's coming up on August 27th, 2022. Now, before I get into the forecast for the collective and each individual life path number, I do want to mention two things. First of all, there was someone who is an 11-2 who reached out to me via my website to inquire about a numerology coaching session. And your email keeps getting kicked back to me. So if you're listening, if you could just go ahead and reach back out and send me an email address that accepts emails, I will certainly would love to give you more information. So if you're sitting out there and you've reached out to me and you haven't heard back, that could be why. Okay, for the rest of you, this of course is a general reading, a general forecast. If you would like a personalized reading where we'll take a look at your personal energies, your personal numerology, go ahead and book some time with me. I would love to work with you. I have a variety of options available on my website with a variety of price points. So you should be able to find something that suits your needs at this time. And again, I would just love to work with you. So let's go ahead and take a deep dive into this numerology and these energies. So we are really looking at the energies of the 9 and the 23-5. And that 23 is significant. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that as we move through the forecast. Okay, so collectively, this new moon with such strong 5 energy is bringing about, I hate to say it, but more change and transformation. Or it could bring about new opportunities, right? So regeneration. So new opportunities for growth, expansion, encouragement to experience life in a much bigger way, and or getting yourself out into the community or the world in a big way, or at least your work, right? Or your creative projects, your creative influence, your creative, life force that is an extension of you. So the most potent energies of this new moon are the 9, which I'll talk about in just a moment, and the 23-5. So the influencing energy of the 23 is really significant with this 5 energy because it highlights the areas of relationships coming together, mending or healing what has potentially been broken, or becoming the observer to gain greater perspective before taking action and without taking sides. So even though this is 5 energy, again, we're working with 23 energy, which is that of the 2 and the 3. So we see this sort of balancing, relationship coming together, mending, healing kind of energy of the 2, right? As well as this big social, creative, and communicative energy of the 3. Combine the 2, the 3, and the 5, and we have sort of this melting pot of just huge, transformative, sensory, enriching, freedom-loving, creative, self-expression with a focus on relationships and how our work and our actions can influence or potentially impact others. And then with that awareness, choosing how we sort of move forward with that energy. Because again, the energy can always be present, but it's how we as individuals choose to work with that energy that makes the difference. So again, this is going to be a very social energy. So when I say relationships, quote unquote, I'm really referring to any relations with others beyond self. And again, then we've got that 9 energy, again, which looks beyond self into a greater purpose, right? So we're looking at the full spectrum here. So maybe you create something, or maybe you do something where that creation or that action has an impact or a direct impact on someone that maybe you've never even met before, right? The project or the creation becomes the bridge between the two of you. So again, it could be something where it's got a significant impact on someone that you've never met. or on someone that you have met. But there's just keep that in mind, because, there is some level of responsibility to that in our output, right? In what we put out and what we present to the world. With that being said, of course, we don't want to have to police our creative self-expression or sort of overly monitor it. So, because then the creativity suffers, right? And you sort of lose that spark. However, you can also ensure that what you're putting out into the world comes with it your integrity and your intention for good. You do have control over that. We do have control over, again, our intention, what we put into whatever this is, how we go about creating it, the ingredients that we use to create whatever this is. How another person internalizes that, or what they take away from it, or what they do with it, of course, is beyond your control, right? But we always have control over our own integrity and our own intentions. And we know when they're good, and when they're not so good. So the energy is simply asking us to check in with ourselves before hitting send, before making that post, before distributing whatever it is that we're distributing at this time. And I would really say anytime. There is a level of personal responsibility when it comes to, again, putting our creative projects or whatever, right, out into the world where other people are going to experience them. We do have some level of, again, responsibility with that, not to police ourselves, not to sort of censor ourselves. But we know the energy that we're putting behind whatever this is. We know the energy that we're putting into it. We know our own intentions. And if there's malice or vengefulness or sort of undertones of backhanded compliments or whatever, right? If there's that, if you're sending that out there, if you're putting that out into the world, if there's like this passive aggressiveness to whatever it is that you're sharing with others, when it's there, and when you're putting it out there. And so really this energy is saying, maybe before we do that, can we pause? Can we just take a few minutes to breathe and just check in and just make sure that what we are contributing to the collective, to others, has good intentions behind it, right? Because if it doesn't, there are other ways to sort of transmute that energy, to get that energy out, to express it, where it doesn't have to involve others. So there's a real sort of awareness that this energy is sort of bringing up, and a real mindfulness that's really having us check back in with ourselves and take that personal responsibility in what it is that we're contributing into the greater collective. Because, energy is energy, and it doesn't discriminate between the individual and the collective. So if we're putting it out there, and we're putting it out there in a way where others are going to experience it in some way, there has to be some level of good intention behind it. Otherwise, that negative energy is just getting catapulted out into the collective and just, feeding into that fire. So we get to decide how we contribute and how we participate. And this energy is just asking us to really take a close look at that before we take the action. So simply check in with yourself is really what's coming up here. The energy of the 9, that brings in this vibration again that sort of echoes the same message. So new opportunities for facing or overcoming past hurts or injustices could surface now. 9 energy, when it's in its higher octave, is a very non-judgmental, very compassionate, understanding, kind energy that's interested in taking action around deeds or services that aim to help or promote positive influences for the greater community or the greater good. So this isn't doormat energy, right? This isn't victim mentality. It's not promoting sort of, getting walked all over and being taken advantage of and allowing yourself to be taken advantage of and all of that. It's promoting really self-empowerment and the empowerment of others. Right? That's supported under 9 energy. 9 energy isn't going to do it for you, right? It's not going to come in and be like, okay, I'm going to do this for you. That's martyrdom. That's that's saying you're not capable of doing this for yourself, so let me do it for you. And that's actually disempowering for the other person. 9 energy is coming in and saying, I know you've got this. I know you can do this. Let me support you. Let me help you find the ways to do it so that you can do it for yourself. That's really that humanitarian energy. And that's ultimately at the core of humanitarianism, right? Is saying, you have what you need to do this. Let me help you remember. Let me help you find that within yourself so that you can do it for yourself, so that you don't need to rely on another person to do it for you. Not to say you can't work and collaborate with others. That's a different thing, right? We're talking about empowerment and disempowerment. So there is no victim mentality with this 9 energy that's coming in. It's saying, how can we, the work that we put out there, how can we make sure that it is empowering for others, or has the potential to, right? Like if you're doing a teaching or something like that, is what you're offering something that will help that individual gain access to their own inner strength, their own inner gifts, whatever it is, so that again, they can find their own self-empowerment. There's a lot that kind of goes into this energy, and I think you're going to feel that, as I think we're all going to feel it as we move through this this illumination. I think it's important to also mention that 9 energy is, in its higher octave, is non-judgmental. So it's not going to sort of assist and then judge how you do it, right? It's like it's going to allow you to do it however you feel called to do whatever this is. It's going to look at your strengths and help you to build upon those strengths. So again, that you can work alongside of others rather than expecting someone else to do it for you, or you expecting to do it for someone else. Okay, I think I've said enough about that, but that's really what's coming in so strongly with this 9 energy. 9 energy is going to see the potential and the capabilities in everyone, and it strives to help others see it within themselves so that they can access that light and start working with that light and sharing it. 9 energy is very, very selfless energy in this way, right? So again, it's not selfless to where we again, become a doormat or allow others to take advantage of us. It's selfless in the way that it is not going to try to disempower somebody else by trying to control or manipulate that person to do whatever the thing is for them, okay? So there's no getting to the top alone, right? And this is kind of looking at all of this energy combined. There's nothing that even though like we can be empowered and we can, share our gifts in our own way and be unique and all of that, there's no getting to the top alone. I mean, you can get to the top alone, but it's going to be real lonely up there. And you're not going to be able to contribute or create in the ways that you would be able to create if you do it as sort of a collective or in collaboration with others or working with others, right? And so that's, again, where this 9 energy is coming in really, really strongly as well. So again, there's no getting to the top alone. Everyone gets there together using their own unique gifts and their own unique strengths. And that's really what 9 energy is looking to do, right? To assist with, to help everyone sort of get there together. So again, so that we can create together. When we create together, it's so much bigger. It's so much more profound than when we create alone. But it takes each of us, right, tapped into our own light, tapped into our own unique, specific, beautiful ingredients first, so that we can then create together, so that we can see who's bringing what. So this 9 energy can help us to overcome those judgments, those grudges, those restricted mindsets, whether it's about other people or about ourselves, to step further into our own greatness while assisting others in stepping into theirs. So much synergy, just so much synergy and collective partnerships really being highlighted under this illumination. It's really incredibly beautiful energy. And then on top of that, we're working with the 6 universal energy for 2022. So it's just so much about collective energy, unconditional love, working together, seeing the other person's divinity, and just all the yumminess, right? It's there. The energy is there, but we have to take advantage of it. We have to work with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at each individual life path number now. Life path number 7. So you all 7s are working with undercurrent or undertone energy of the 7 and the 3. So a, sort of a double dose of your own sort of life path energy. So you may change up your communication style now, and this kind of brings in the energy of the 3. You may want to change things up. You might want to be more bold and more brave with how you express yourself without, and this is key for 7s, without over-analyzing or overthinking about it. This is great energy for public speaking or for writing. So if that's a way that you can express yourself, this is a great energy and very supportive of that. There's also something here around some kind of energy around trust. So that's coming in really, really strongly with this new moon for you all. And that's also, with 7s, there's sort of this, there's a lot around trust for others, trust for self, trust for the unseen, sort of marinated into the core of your 7 life path number. And so many of your challenges or your sort of quote unquote lessons throughout life, throughout your journey, are coming in to help you to surrender and to trust more over time, right? It's not something that happens overnight, especially when it has to do with trust. But you may see things like that sort of emphasized now, things sort of associated with trust, or things testing your level of trust, or, things that trigger you that remind you of why you don't trust and what you need to work on and that sort of thing. Because really, there's so much obviously that goes into the 7 life path, but a big component is around trust. And a lot of the relationships that you encounter or sort of work through your soul contracts in this lifetime will highlight for you either breaking that trust so that you have to kind of move through that experience, or encountering someone who shows you what it's like to be able to trust and gives you reasons to trust type thing. So again, right, like we get teachers from both extremes typically in our journey. So just a lot here coming in around trust. So you may see with this new moon, some kind of experience, a new teacher coming in for you, maybe a trigger point, something coming up for you around trust. And again, how to continue to move towards trusting yourself more, trusting your decisions, trusting others, and not needing them to have to first earn that trust, but having a clean slate with everyone that you meet and moving from that space, right? So there's a lot that goes into this, as well as, especially for 7s, trusting the unseen, trusting your intuition, trusting your more psychic capabilities. 7s are the most psychic energy, the most psychic vibration in numerology. It's a very similar to Piscean energy. So you all have this, we all do, but you all really have this. And so a lot of times with 7s, you can be more practical. And so a part of that journey is to incorporate and become the bridge for that more psychic, more ethereal, more metaphysical side of yourself. And trusting that, right? And trusting the unseen, trusting what you can't logically explain. So there's a lot coming in here for you all under this new moon, especially since you're working with 7 energy. So just, see it as it comes in, decide how you want to work with it, and understand, try to see what it's trying to show you, right? And then decide how to work with it. One thing that I will also say is when it comes to trust or fear around trust, fear is it's debilitating, right? If it's not fear that you're actually facing an immediate fear of something you need to overcome, then a lot of times fear is something that we create within our mind to sort of protect us from potentially getting hurt, right? So this energy could also bring up, since we're talking about trust, some level of fear around trusting or whatever, however it shows up for you. And what I would say for that is the, psychology 101, I guess it's psychology, I don't know, but it's deconstructing that fear, right? What is the worst that could happen? And now once you know the worst that could happen in your mind, how would you hypothetically handle that situation, right? So deconstructing that fear gives you back your power, right? It gives you back the power over any fear that you could conjure up in your mind, because now you have a game plan. You have an idea of, okay, if this happens, this is the absolute worst that could happen. Now, if that happens, how am I going to handle it? Okay, now I have a plan. Now I'm equipped to handle this fear that I've created within my mind, the scenario. I can handle it now because I have a plan in place, which is very 7 energy, to be able to have like sort of a more practical plan, right? To move through and to feel equipped to handle whatever comes up. So I would say if fear arises, especially during this new moon, if there's something you're struggling with and there's fear associated with it, and it's not something that you're immediately faced with that you need to overcome, deconstruct the fear. Journal about it, go within, self-reflect, whatever, but deconstruct it. And then as you deconstruct it, it becomes much less scary, right? It becomes less scary. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the main topics that could come in for you all. There's also with it being 3 energy, this could also be a very social and creative time for you all, where networking and collaborating are also encouraged. But for you all, I don't know, I'm just getting a lot here on like trust and deconstructing those fears, as well as communication and like your communication style and how that may change. Okay. So I hope it's a beautiful new moon for you all. Take care, 7s. Bye for now.